Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds. Welcome you back to Lovecraft Country and Cultist Simulator, the Exile Epilogue, extended road trip, or magical voyage across Europe and Asia, or, the Watching the World Burn tour. It's becoming rather rapidly, and as we hear, Samarkand, which is a recently conquered area by the Soviet Union. Well, relatively recently. The Tsars had it. Now the Bolsheviks took it over. But still, it's considered troubled. Nobody really wants to Soviets to be here. That's usually how it is. Let's see, it's also remote, and it's got a cult of the Lionsmith, which means that'd be really cool with me burning the world down. Just because they're into burning the world, I mean, the Lionsmith is not a moral entity, neither is a colonel. They will support law or chaos, regardless if it's good or evil. They don't care. Colonel wants the authority to keep in power, and then the society functions can continue. And the Lionsmith just wants to watch the world burn, which apparently we're really into too. But we've actually gone beyond that point too, because that's about revolution, changing a government, and we're right into the wolf's divided shadow, where we're just deciding everything should look better in ash. Anyways, we will probably be doing that. I did check. There isn't much here. Well, first of all, what we should do, get our money back, and then get our exit ticket, so we know whether or not we have to prepare for wandering out to the countryside again. Side 13 obscurity. Now, someone asked if we're going to go to Pentiment, because I got 6 here. There's only one Pentiment that it still remains within we can get. Okay, so you spent the cash ahead. We're at 32 freaking cash. It's ridiculous. Cash is so unimportant, there's actually no number for it down here. But let's see where we're going after this. I'm not running, dear gods, we're just having a tour. Now I'm going to take Zulfa, Vasil, and Jennings, and we're going to use them for the revolution this time, and it should be interesting. Now, considering it's going to be a jihadist, because this is formerly Muslim territory, yeah, I'm not sure the woman's going to... I mean, Zulfa may have issues, but she's, crazy enough. I probably think they'll get along with her. Okay. Frankly, we're here to liberate from the Soviets, is probably... something they won't care who it is. Okay, tigers. There's a monastery high in the great mountains beyond Russia. I visited in my youth. Perhaps the foe won't find him there, and if he does, perhaps it's time to make a stand. High in the abode of the eternal snows, a monastery of the diamond vehicle that might actually be one of the 9 libraries. I'm not sure. Clings in probably the cliff face like flowers and chitin. Lichen, not chitin. God damn it. Me and my degree in biology. Anyways, no, we're not. Does anybody here think that we'd be better off at living in a monastery at this point? I mean, there's a few people to which, that level of solitude will give them spiritual enlightenment and such. Speaking of which, we do have the holy man. I don't know if I want to do a religion again, though, because it wouldn't be quite as much fun. I mean, once you've had the 2-week long drug, sex, and booze party at Paris, everything else is going to compare in comparison. A very old poet in Masad has long been a favorite customer of mine. She'll certainly offer me hospitality. Why? I just have a question for you. Why does a poet need an assassin? Or it has been mentioned that I will do jobs like retrieving magical artifacts from dangerous places. Is my guess. It's probably what they're referring to. All right, there might be one item here. It would be a page. Now the thing is, we already technically got this before because I thought there'd been some sort of error before, but it's actually incorrect. Apparently there are 3 pages and going to be getting in a small number of places. That's why I wasn't getting them, because I already gotten 2 of the pages. One of them was stolen. It technically means I could have never gotten that book. Visual connection. I'm just curious if it will pop up here or not. And of course we'll need that connection radicals. God, we're meeting up with jihadists. You know how little the freaking world changes? It's like a time is a flat circle. Here we are literally 100 years later, because this is in fact 1925. Doing the same stuff. And the same song and dance. And what was it like 100 years before? Probably something similar. Alright, there we go. It's been so long since I played Doctor. Do it a couple of times, it gets dull, I guess. Alright, let's get you over there. Don't need the tiger's nest either. What to do with you, dude? Sorry. Also, it's one of the weakest connections, by the way. It's only got 4 lantern and 4 heart. And alright, so yeah, there's the shrine to the colonel. Crossroads Atishka. The party drove the worshippers of this fire out the fire's temple. This is referring to the Communist Party, which is violently atheist, as they saw religion as different, a little different now. They saw religion as a competitor for their atheistic communist beliefs, which is belief, by the way. Atheism is a form of belief because you cannot, in fact, it will always be a form of belief no matter what, because you cannot prove a negative, therefore you cannot prove God doesn't exist. And considering that we're actually a demigod in this game, I don't think atheism has can hold a candle to that. Now, the small cadre of military engineers operates there, but they've been a considerable effort into maintaining the gas pipes that fuel the eternal flame of the practice into eccentric. Essentially, what happens is that the colonel took over, the people who took over the place, because they're a god. And, the minds of mortals are easy to bend and to their will. Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do with this. Because of our current status, we can't actually increase like I said before, pardon me on that one, we can't actually increase this. Yeah, it will just give us a vitality so I can heal a wound, and the other thing, possibility. The possibility is, yeah, I could dedicate myself to them, but, this is a non-committal. The wolf and I are cool right now. Not great for the rest of the world, mind you, but we're doing fine. Thank you very much. How are you doing? All right. So I'm going to see if we can get the page or not, as well, of course, get the radicals and burn this place down, and then we'll head towards, probably Persia, so I'm thinking. Because poets have an interesting status in Muslim cultures, in that I couldn't describe it myself as, somebody who's not familiar with the culture of the faith, but there is, holy man, there you go. There is a sort of connection between the two, as if poets glimpse a greater reality that we cannot. And I think that's actually true. I think a lot of the truths of the world could not be understood in a rational fashion, but they could be understood in a symbolic fashion, as in the fashion a poet would see the world. The wind is, for example, to us, just the difference between air moving between high and low pressures in a scientific form, but it's actually the breath of God to a poet. This one. Underworld connection. We're looking for radicals. The underworlds don't want to burn the place down because they're making money off of it. Same with the officials. Or the rulers. Holy men may or may not be that case. That kind of just depends on a case-to-case basis, really. But radicals define themselves by wanting to bring the system down. Chilling with them so much. Because, and they also throw the greatest parties, because you will party like you will not believe if you are not sure that you're going to survive to the next day. Alright, discreet office. I don't think they have any mansions here either, again. Communism ruining everything. Can't have nice things at a communism because it's actually forbidden. You'll have unpleasant things forever, but you'll have just enough unpleasant things to survive. You are welcome. By the way, I'll be over here feasting in this palace. For the perkers. Oh god, it hurts. I mean, it's not like other systems are different. Capitalism is producing the same exact effect with a small number of elite. Or you could say there are controlled markets in, like, China, or you can say the cartel-run places. Oops, sorry. Cartel-run places, or, yada, yada, yada. It's very few places where actually are run by the people, for the people. Most of the people get... What the... Oh, cats. That's, by the way, Oh, no. Oh, no. Now I'm having a crisis of faith here. One of the reasons I left Istanbul is it's actually known in the real world for having a lot of... It's hosting a large number of well-tiered feral cats. Now, the well cared for is subjective. I mean, they're still, homeless. They're still, subject to the elements of predation, but they just get fed better. And they're allowed to sleep anywhere they want to. So, it's something. There's a mutilated manuscript. Now, I could cheat the system and add that comfort to this one, but I already did that. But yeah, that appears to prove the hypothesis that it was not actually glitched. So next time we'll keep that in mind, depending on what our strategy is. All right, so like I said, we're just going to keep moving cash while we're here looking for the radicals. It's hard to shop for radicals. They don't advertise. Kind of the point. If you're against the system, you don't want the system to know where you are. Well, these days they'll post on social media. I swear, the world is performative at this point. Authenticity has become unpopular. Dawn. Alright, so we're going to stare at the sun. There you go. Now, the thing is, what I really love is that if you don't put anything there, you get, like, confusion, because you cannot decide what you want. Makes, perfect sense to me. Fascination, I think, is what they do it. But yeah. Ambivalence produces confusion. You have to at least believe in something. I've always said that you need to make a choice. You can't just remain undecided forever. Even if you're wrong, you can correct yourself better and learn from the mistake, but the absence of a choice just means you're not going anywhere or doing anything. Come on, people. How difficult is it to find a jihadist? These days you can just post to them online. It's like ridiculous. I am being freaking serious, but you can actually crowdfund revolutions and terrorism probably at this point. Bitcoin, especially through Bitcoin. This, oh, thank goodness, we finally got you. I think it's one of the reasons that Bitcoin was no, I don't think. Yeah, it's true. Bitcoin was created to help facilitate illegal transfer of funds. It's untraceable by the government. Now, speaking of this, let's get to work, shall we? Now, we want city fund. There you go. Alliance goes here. Direction. All right. Got to put Forge into her assistant uprising. I'm not sure why she has to be the one involved, but you know, whatever. She's getting the experience. She's an old woman. She wants to enjoy her twilight years. No telling how much longer she'll be within human form, but she'll have to revert back to her elemental one. All right, people. You know how the drill goes. So cool. Okay. First of all, we have to put in the actual ability to do the war, because this will that card alone will take care of it. And we'll just keep shipping money out while we're doing that. Okay, Solpa, there you go. She wants to help. She's chaos. She always wants to do something. May not be. She may decide to do something different the moment later, but she always wants to do something. Yes, we're going to help liberate the world from. Yeah, if this universe's Soviet Union has 4 simultaneous uprisings in this 1925, I don't know how that affects the timeline, but it's definitely going to be interesting. If it like starts a whole chain reaction going on, because the Soviet Union in 1925 is not as well established as it would be later on. The Bolsheviks have just taken over, and there's still ideological competition with Stalin. He does have an iron grip, but theoretically it could be undone right now, which is an interesting possibility. Extremely interesting. Yeah, I like the fact that, remember that the guy we met here was upset that, you know what? Screw it. Do it. I'm going to send him to go worship Bast. You know, I don't know what Allah's actual opinion of cats are. I don't know if it's blasphemy or not. There you go, Misty Nook. Doesn't even burn him up. I love that. Travel to Misty Nook. Purpose. Well, we could put the Pentiment in, but I don't want to. We don't put lore in, but I don't want to. So I guess we're just going to chill. Gonna chill in an area that's overlap between here and the woods, basically. All right, so Jennings, there you go. Right edge. Yeah, we're gonna get like $7 for doing it this way too. Love the fact that it really doesn't matter what you use for an uprising. You can drop as many traces as you want on you, because you're gonna burn them all out when you're done at the end. Because, you know, like I said, it's hard to get paperwork from a burning city. Maybe we actually torch the files on the way out, just to help them along. Of course, it's going to help us drop our arcax. I mean, when we get back to actually fighting the foe, that's going to be an interesting tactic to take, because they wander into the Soviet Union while we're doing it. Oh, that would be hilarious. The mist does not move, and neither is it still. At night is quiet. After an hour, head back to bed. We'll enjoy restful sleep. It's true, the wood is the personification of dreams, so it would help you fall asleep well if you appeased it. Alright, facade. There you go. One more. So we can resume our tranquility. Do we only sleep well when... Okay, loose ends. We burn the place. We got 4 gold this time. Okay, and they will end in fire. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, can you imagine what it must have been like right now to be, like, Stalin's chief whipping dog for the army? Because you don't have any real authority, only Stalin's authority. I mean, it was so bad in sometimes that they actually would remove people from official photos. This is using 20s and 30s technology to airbrush people out of pictures. That's from the film directly. So to basically unperson them, as it's called, to make sure that they disappear from the historical record. Those in jihadists are fighting street to street. I should leave while I can. Yeah, probably. All right, we got a place to go, though, unlike most people here. Oh, God. The widows and orphans are creating in our wake. Again, we are personification of war. There's a reason why some people want us to be duking out with our dad for eternity, because then we won't bother anybody else. Anyways, I'll catch you on the other side. And okay, so we finally made it out. Okay, going the darkness into a new day. We'll have yet another obscurity, because apparently disappearing in the Soviet Union. Okay, I'll believe that. Disappearing in the Soviet Union will make you more obscurity. So much obscurity that sometimes you don't get back. My friend had retired to a village outside Mashhad, but because she was of the old religion, when she fell ill, she had gone to the Brazier Fire Temple to seek healing. She died before sunset. By the time I arrived, they'd already taken her body to the tower for excarnation. I think it's to be burned. Unfortunate. The old religion, I don't think it's the Muslim religion. I think it's actually the pagan religion. Which fire burial would be very common, as... Yeah, we gain grief. Forgot about that. Yeah, that's the thing. Everything ends 6 winter. You get here in a few hours too late. If we hadn't spent the, party in the Paris, we probably could have come to the funeral. But in the game, obviously, you never make it in time. But in this particular timeline, we might feel a little guilty about our casual pace of destruction. Mossad. It is, however, cult residence, cult of the Lionsmith, a mild and turquoise sunset in Mossad, and the lights, which is in Persia, which would be Iran later, and according to life. Armored cars growl past. The new Shah is wary. You better be. I think it's your grandson who gets toppled and assassinated by the CIA, which went swimmingly well, now didn't it? Everything's so much better. 1,000 years ago, here between the mountains, Ferodowski wrote, "How shall a man escape that which is written? How shall he flee from destiny?" That is a good question, actually. Technically, we've been ignoring our destiny. All right, so Sod, you have 11. Managed to get 11 money out. So let's first thing first, get that knocked out. I'm also going to double check to make sure. Let's see if we can get this. What we can do this time. We've got a shrine. Oh, we can actually get a villa. So we will be purchasing a mansion. But let me check. I think we do not have. Yeah, nothing else at the moment. So we'll grab a mansion and then we'll probably make our way out. Don't know where we'll be going. We've been to Baghdad yet because we only go to one place once. So yeah. All right. Oh, also we're gonna have to upgrade Jennings. No, actually, no, he's ready for an upgrade yet. 2. Sorry, guys, we won't be burning anything down for a bit. Oh, Zulfia can go to level 7. There we go. She's now up from level 1. No longer the newbie, as it were. So she doesn't have to be the one to send out to get drinks. Might end up having to go cross country, unfortunately. Sigh. Yeah, I could probably just take off from here and have her, Zulfia, upgrade while we're waiting. It's going to take a long. But yeah, unfortunately, with our friend gone, there's not much we can do. I mean, we can't even crash to our house, really. I mean, it's not like we have party for a place to live. We'll just live in the hotel until we find a tiny mansion we kind of like. Now, while that's going on, oh, yeah, did you hear about that terrible news? Oh yeah, Percy Styles is still in Baghdad, which means he's one of the which definitely means he's one of the British occupation forces, probably in the bureaucracy, a clerk. God knows the British have clerks everywhere in this time. Doing whatever it is he does for the British government in mandatory Iraq. I like how they call it mandatory Iraq. He'd probably still be glad to see me. Okay, that's not a good sign. You know, we have to ask ourselves if he likes us or not. You go ahead. Now, while you're doing that, Zulfia, you're going to upgrade your chaos. I wonder what her upgrade conversation is. And not a lot of conversation in this particular one. I mean, the first one had that much anyways. But it's kind of interesting that it's a bit streamlined. I mean, it'd be nice if you had a full extended version of this sort of thing where we're playing a reckoner, not in a less desperate time. Okay, quiet warehouse, do not care. Give me a villa. We're gonna have real estate everywhere we can. It's not gonna live in a warehouse again. And after that, we'll probably all right. Snip, snip, snip. I'm not asking where you're. I don't want to know what hair you're cutting at this point. Probably like shaves. The thing was, if she's using scissors, it makes less sense. She should be using a razor to get that sort of close cut. I mean, she's using scissors. I really have to give her props for her dedication of making a buzz cut that way. Send ahead. And one thing Britain does well at this point in time, it's banks. It's all about the banks. Extracting wealth. Mandatory Iraq. Oh my god. Why did they call it mandatory Iraq? One day I'm gonna have to find out. It's sunset. Let's go look at the sunset for a bit. We like to stare at the sun. And considering our eyes probably regenerate, not really an issue, is it? You can do so many things that people can't survive and are probably completely and utterly abusing that ability. Think of how much we can drink before we get drunk. And how, kind of like that first Captain America film where he could not technically drink and to get drunk because the more alcohol, they can't drink alcohols faster than his body processes it. Yeah, bless his suck in some ways. Never figure out why he doesn't technically have a regeneration factor, he just heals quickly. Technically, in the comics, let's see, Captain America has maximum human attributes. That's literally what it is. He doesn't have superhuman powers, although I believe it's considerably different in the film, in which, you know, he can move around things up to at least a ton. I think it was clocked in the comics he could bench press 800 pounds. Which is what they believe, or is it 400? Probably more like 400 pounds, which they believe is the human maximum potential. I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there with a YouTube channel is trying to find out. Dangerous substance. Do we really want to just get some more of that stuff? I mean, it's not like we don't have the ability to buy it, right? Here, just be over turkey, would you? Where are we? Ah, Mossad. Probably, I know, the Mossad is the Mashad, I think. Mossad is like the Israeli intelligence network. Really good place to place. There you go. More explodey powder. I don't... That's what I've been doing, haven't I? I've been giving all the radicals Molotov cocktails with one single grain of that stuff. Oh my god. I'm creating an arms race. Grand Townhouse. We're almost there. Be like, then I'll be telling the realtor, I want a bigger place than this. Find me something. Money is not as much of an object as other people. I'll never say it's not an object. You only have so much you can spend no matter how rich you are, but it is not this. It is not the object it is to most people. Wider tolerance range there. I mean, we don't even know. Even if I manage to find a way to translate this into modern day money, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what one cash equals. Is it what one person can survive on for a month? Is it the same way what funds are for Cultist Simulator? I don't know. No idea, actually. Oh, so much tranquility. We were practically zen. Get me my mansion, damn it. Nope. Guns. Guns do not help me now. I have a gun. I always wonder about those guys, who's, as they call them, emosexuals, who are post like 30 rifles and like assorted knives and such on their porch and say, "This, come and get him, liberals." I'm sorry, you can only hold at bloody most like 3 guns, like 1 long arm, 2 pistols, maybe if you're really good, 1 over the back as well. But you're not gonna need that many. You just need what right tool for the job. Air shimmers with a naked furnace, serpent's weather. I guess dragon weather would be appropriate. Can't really do much with it. Except throw it at a reckoner to slow them down, which is always funny. Basically, you draw them out to the desert, where the heat overcomes them. My guess is you packed water, or the fact that you're a demigod. A demigod of Earth, so it's kind of wondering if that sort of condition would actually affect you, or probably you'd have a much higher tolerance than a standard human being. You know, you're essentially, you would be a superhero if this is a different genre, or a supervillain. You're just you, this one. You never actually know why he stole that money. I think it was just to piss off Dad. Didn't have much plan afterwards. So my guess is that would be Islamic or the Old Faith, which would be very quiet in the Islamic countries. I imagine on the hinterlands of Persia you might get away with it. Isn't that where Zoroastrianism came from? I was told I thought Zoroastrianism was extinct years ago. And when I first started this, I was like, wait, it still exists? Wow. I mean, it's been around since, well, it's at least as old as Judaism. And it's a strict dualism I don't like. It's kind of what got into Judaism to make it into Christianity, to have a strict good and bad people. You know, there's a devil who's doing good things, and God, I mean, the devil is just bad things. God does good things, and, you know, there's that. Now, in reality, I think it's probably the same entity, or as Tom Waits once put it, there's no devil, there's like God when he drinks. Alright, what do we got here? Underworld connection does not work. We've only got 24 left. I'm trying to be a little more cautious with it. Street office. Look, I said bigger, not smaller. God damn it. This real estate agent is worthless. Wait, do they have real estate? Yeah, there's real estate agents in 1925. They're probably real estate agents in 1545. Just, you know, only work for the nobility because they're the ones who are going to own things. Aha, there we go. Find me a mention in the hinterlands of Persia. It'll be good for a little while. CIA won't get around to overthrowing this place for another 50 years. 60 years, I think, actually. No, 50. No. 40. Yeesh. Gotta check my history on that one. Ah, there we are. Love it. Kick back at the mansion for, you know, give it a kind of good run for a few weeks, and then we'll head out once we get this back. Everybody party. My place. I'm sure there's enough locals around. Oh yeah, it's Persia. I'm not exactly sure how. What's the hinterlands Persia like for parties? Probably not great. All right, we're going to Baghdad. Got you on their side. Okay, and now, after burning down the Soviet Union and sneaking back into civilized territory, but through the hinterlands of Persia, we're at Baghdad, which is under British occupation, by the way, at the time, in mandatory Iraq. Seriously. Give me a sec. Percy Styles, classic British name, is waiting for me at the station. His hair is an absurd frizz, but it's whitened with age. He looks more than like a married, dissolute bishop. Dash good time, he says, bumping my hand. Got a chance here for a spot of mutual back scratching. You want me to do something for you, right? 59. Oh, God, it takes that way to load. Okay, official connection is Percy, by the way. The Alphippian Abyss. Now, this is actually where you can get the third magic weapon. There's a nasty sort of power stirring up in the mountains. I like the fact that we have a British clerk who actually understands and uses the urban fantasy tropes that we're working with here. Sealed away under the earth for years, and cosmic horror, too. But there's an earthquake, big hole opened up. Bureau. Suppression Bureau. Percy works for the Suppression Bureau. Now, why does the Suppression Bureau go along with the Reckoners? Who better to kill mages? Your own agents can't nab them. You're going to have to hire professionals. And just, you know, but with the death of my father, or this propping up me as a rival, or as a solitary one, or head of an organization, would be good, which means that the system will be trying to recruit me, by the way, which is actually one of the endings. Barry tells me there's something weapony in there, and I'll be honest, I'd rather you had it than any of the local troublemakers, because I will be leaving town. Because either because my father's pursuing me in a normal course of action, or I'm bored. All right, so yeah, first things first, let's get that knocked out. I have to remember what I have to do to do this. Okay. Healthy abyss. I mean, I've got absolutely no fear of, not being able to pull it off. Heart. Ooh, this is actually one of the more difficult ones. Forge 6, easy enough to do. Moth 10 or Grail 10, we've got the wine for that. And 10 edge or 14. I think we're good. So we actually will be able to let ourselves see what the challenges are in real time, which is good since I can do all these in one step. All right. So, correct, Grandma? Yeah. All right. I just call her Grandma. Kindness. We call her Babushka. She was from the East, but she's actually from Venice and the bowels of the earth. Okay. So let's get to it, people. All right. Now I could, like I said, drop in any amount of resource I want to now. The only thing I'm actually going to do, which is going to be hilarious, is let's pick. It's Jennings. I'll need possibly a heart. So Vassal. Ooh, Vassal's actually got some abilities here that would work. 7. Well, anyways, I want to get Vassal up to. No, Vassal only has 1. So let's get Lally up. There you go. Lally will be hunting something really happier. So it will still give us what we need, the explanation of each point. All right, so let's use her as a scout. Right then. Let's get our cash back over here. Ah, using one of their kind, are you? Keep that tongue in your mouth, boy. Anyways, or, I'll remove it. Anyways, some people only play when they're terrified. Actually, it's kind of the cornerstone of society when you come down to it. Everybody's afraid to do something. Be punished. There we go. Busy night lies ahead. Actually, one of my favorite capers. First things first, it's actually mentioned in Hill House. One of the recordings that you get is actually we're speaking to the entity that resides here, which claims to be one thing, but is actually one of the worms. It's brown, fat, and thick, and too large to leave the cavern. It wants help to leave the cavern. Do not help it leave the cavern. Lots of passes going up there have been blocked. You'll need to find a road or make one. I get you explosives. The Bureau side doesn't like them. The Army side doesn't like me. We'll give them that. The Bureau Suppression Bureau does not do what most player characters in Cthulhu inevitably do, which is use lots and lots of dynamite to deal with problems. Like, for example, there was one joke about the only way to handle when you have an adventure that brings you a crumbling mansion with with a cursed family lineage and ancient texts inside, the correct thing to do is to simply blow it up with dynamite and run away. It's kind of funny, but it absolutely. All right, but obviously, Orsana, being an earth elemental, can handle that landslide for us. So we'll head her out. All right. So here we go. All right. I want to dash cross country, which means no sending money ahead. But at least we'll do a random teleportation thing. I don't think it's a pentiment either. Hang on. Yeah, it's definitely not. Which is unfortunate because that would actually bring things together. Okay, so there's a Grail adept already camped out the side. You'll need to be ready for her tricks. We know what to do with the Grail adept because they're seductive. We get them incredibly drunk, and actually, that's not wrong. For example, if you want to get past like satyrs or naiads or other types of party ones, you want to get them so bloody drunk because they can't really say no to temptation that they are no longer a problem and don't want to do whatever they want to do with you. Unless you're into that. Anyways, I used bribery. Yeah, basically you bribed her. Okay, we gave her a good time. We could have sent Vassal, but she only has a 7. We needed a 10. Sorry, Vassal, you're not experienced enough yet. Vassal with the gloves would have done it. No thoughts. No thoughts there. Anyways, sure. Let's keep going. So, meanwhile, we're in Baghdad. Probably should have do a little shopping over here. I don't think there's much of anything we want. Let's see. Yeah, they don't even have a mansion. I'm just depressed about the whole thing. We can get some more forged powder, I guess. Oh, heat in Baghdad. What are the odds? It's not like it's in the middle of the desert. Yeah, this area is kind of hard to live in because it's got a lot less arable land and a lot of heat. and it's completely dependent on rivers. It's kind of like Egypt, but worse, because Egypt has at least some backup, some margin. That power itself, the thing under the earth, Bureau says it started calling itself a tendril of the seven-coiled. Old god, do you see, which is also what I am, aspect of the old god, flesh. The god flesh starts to rot and something else starts to breed in what you call worms. I'd watch yourself, fair warning. Now, in the, get this. Yes, violence is the solution. She's gonna go down there with our magic blade, and just cut it to pieces. Magic blades, and cut it to pieces. Just be done with it. Technically, in a lot of stories, we'd be the hero here, but we all know that I'm not the hero. I just like destroying things. Not to mention, it's part of an old conflict, as it were. Yeah, don't worry. She and I probably had a lot of fun. I mean, technically I solo it, but she's been bored. Might as well give her something. Ruler. Fortunately, that one costs a decade, which is not something I'm going to do. Alright, so we killed it, which is kind of, we're about one of the few people who actually could do that safely, given our lineage. But we have this, which is a single feather. It does the Inhuman Technics, which I have absolutely no idea of what it means. I'm going to try to see if there is a translation. Dislike using Google anything, but sometimes it's the bastard of it. That it doesn't. It's convenient at times. I mean, when we get to things like ChatGPT, I'm like, no. The translation is pretty much something that we initiate. We decide. Okay. Do. Give me a second. Okay, that didn't work. Sigh. That's the thing. A lot of my security will not actually work. Because, you know, the little spies on us. The greatest person who's spying on you right now is the government of the world. Latin, this, yeah. I tried Latin and just came up bleh. Anyways, if anybody does know what this is supposed to mean, let me know, please. But for now, where'd it go? It doesn't look like much, but its touch, flesh perishes. Perhaps it is the last fragment of the weapon that slew the seven-coiled from within. Now, the reason why it's a feather is that the weapon used to kill it was not actually a sword. This is the colonel. He actually did not use a real weapon. He fed it to him. It makes the sense, doesn't it? He basically had to create a bird or some entity that could have so much poison within it that it would kill the personification of hunger itself, which is the seven-coiled. So he went to the priestess, aka now the smother of ants, in order to get it, and according to some aspects, he betrayed her for it. That and the whole magical protection thing. You know, which would be on, point for this world. Which world am I talking about? But one of the biggest thing about it is that it is 10 edge. It is the most dangerous weapon. In other words, if you're fighting the foe, technically Blade's blade is the best if you're going for the long haul version, because it's the one that will make him bleed out longer. But if you're going to go straight up fight, yeah, this one's technically the biggest weapon. It's even more powerful than this one, which only has a 6. The ragged sword also means it doesn't have a sharp edge, by the way. But now we've got that after we've, blown. And just like the idea of Orsana here. We're going to have to upgrade her too. Okay, we're actually going to be able to test out the faith. Islamic faith, of course. Many mosques in Baghdad. One day it may actually be a place people can visit. These days, not so much. At least not for people like us. No, most of us. Some of you may be in that part of the world. They may be able to visit safely. It's not a category which I exist within. Alright, so probably where's our yeah, unfortunately that whole cross-country thing is a temporary thing, so we're gonna have to head out this direction. I like the fact that it also gives an items like it's a feather, but my guess is we have to wrap it up in plastic. Probably the only thing it won't kill automatically, but yeah. We didn't even need anything from him. Just basically to do this, by the way, is how we get a favor of him. But if you play your cards right, don't do the mission, which I don't know why you wouldn't do the mission. You could, theoretically. You could theoretically, how do I put this? You could theoretically stiff him. Just, use his official connection card and then just leave. Which would be right, again, for our very, very appropriate for this world. Meanwhile, put you up to an 8, shall we, dear? You are a 9, so we're going to have to basically create an entire new category here. These would be the 8s. Jennings. That's, yeah, these guys. But you can draw it to a 10, and you have 11. So, man, really starting to get a caste system going here. Oh, useful. Orson has been helping us know all the revolutions. I can't help it. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, so get you here. Okay, 7, 8, 9. This will be 10. Kind of like my old call to just keep organizing people. The old call, you can't actually advance by experience, which would actually be kind of fun. You do that. Yeah, okay, so you lived. The demon did not rip your head off. You learned something. Okay, despite the fact that we lost about 14 acolytes to his name, I can't remember. So yeah, I guess you're being promoted because you're the only one still breathing. Where the hell is the demon, by the way? Oh, really? We should probably stay low for a while. There you go, 10. Good lord. Yeah. Yeah, Dominguez is gonna probably be alone. But yeah, these 3 will be the ones you continue to use until they start going up the chain themselves. Oh, well. It's... hierarchy is usually just when you entered into the group. Anyways, I'll be back. Okay, so after a couple of cycles, we did manage to get Marrakesh. This is actually where we want to go, because you can get the last pentiment, and technically we could probably get the pentiment ending. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if you want me to go for that, or to keep trying to go for a comfort ending. Anyways, a marabout from Naville has somehow discovered I'm here in the middle of nowhere. Message comes only, come to Marakat for glory. Okay, so which is what we'll be doing, and it does have a shrine as well. So let's hop in. Okay, so before we dive off into Marrakech, probably. Something like that. Anyways, I did want to point out the alternate place that they tried to send us to was the remote Fogfire Point, which is a one-way trip to an icy promontory to northernmost Norway, where a lonely lighthouse stands proudly with its back to the ocean. No. Not even to visit. Ugh. I've lived remote. I grew up in a remote seaside place. The fact that it's cold, even colder in a remote place, is not somewhere I'd want to go. Anyways, this one's actually Marrakech is going to be a one that's unusual. It's very different if you're bringing Lalia, by the way. He's absolutely essential for getting content for this. Okay. I don't recognize Naville, but he recognizes me and greets me warmly. Your heart is steel, he explains, but steel can also be a mirror. In mirrors we find glory. Basically talking about a divine nature. You don't know what I mean, do you? Never mind. Accept my help and leave whatever you wish. That's all you need to do. Yep, he's one of those people who's like hooked up to like the network, so to speak, a prophet of sorts. All right, so. All right. Now something just happened. Reunion. Chalima! Naville cries for his father. She acknowledges him more cautiously. They share a hug, and Naville turns to beam at me. My daughter hunts monsters for the colonel, and I heal them for the lionsmith. So he's a priest of the lionsmith, which is a concept of chaos, which is why he's so good with prophecy. But chaos lets you see all the pathways. But I am always glad to see her. After all, was not the lionsmith the child of the colonel's body before they became enemies? Now that's a new factoid for me. I hadn't paid attention to that one before. But yeah, is that the case? The lionsmith was actually the child of the colonel who rebelled against them, which, is like an ancient symbol in mythology, even long before, Samael turned against God in Archaic myth. You also had Kronos and Zeus and lots of others. You all people must know that. So basically we're keeping up an old tradition. Isn't that great? Anyways. Collect our 45 freaking items. God, we're clocking this place. So basically, yeah, we have some things to do. 500 miles away, the Republic of Rift wages guerrilla war against the French protectorate. But here in Marrakech, it's still mid-house of Paris. Yep, we're over here on this. This actually was an important part of World War II. It was where I think the area where the Allies invaded Axis occupied. Axis occupied. Had a pretty good run of it too. Ran into Rommel about here, and then they had a really good from a different point of view of you're a strategist. It's the sort of thing you like, but you were there at the time, so that wasn't terribly interesting. Probably still freaking landmines from that era down there. Trembling heat. In Africa, what are the odds? Anyways, we should see if there's any place left in the world for us to go, because we could be running out of places to go, which means we won't get the comfort ending, but we can still theoretically get the imprisonment ending, which we trade the objects of quantum uncertainty, as I like to call it, for our ticket to become a moth demigod. Yep, this could be it. This could be the absolute last place we've got left. So let's finish this one off, shall we? There's one person we need to find first. Ah, cats. Love cats. Let's go chill at the Nook, shall we? Let's take Lily a 2 there, just because you have like a father-daughter thing by the aspect of peace. Tranquility, at the very least. Tranquility is more of a stillness than peace, but we may mistake it for such. Oh yeah, I got wounded in the way through the thing, so that'll fade in time. Doing more damage in the countryside. Oh, we all know what that means, by the way. We do have to buy our mansion here. Our Misty Nook. Okay, hold on. Let's get our mansion first. It's good that we got this one out of the way. And while that's going on, we'll travel to the Misty Nook. And just chill. Get our tranquility going. No need to push anything. Can't actually get an ending from it from Pentiment. We could consume them all, but that just doesn't help. We can get an easy obscurity ending, but we don't want an obscurity ending. There we are. Got a place to chill early on. And we're not actually going to be leaving anytime soon. Still need... Like I said, alright, so... That's like the real world, I guess. Sometimes things just end. They don't actually have an ending. We just stop paying attention to them. And Chinchita! Here the distance ends, and Cheetah doesn't always bother with human form. With luck, shall never see what shape she prefers. Let's talk. At the first rumors of Enchila's presence, Kamna vanishes in the desert. She left one of her characters of the Kirk notes, hunting, not hunting the Lygian. They don't like each other. In fact, I think you can get in trouble if you invite them to dinner at the same time at Hush House. I did see that note. I don't want to know. Kind of want to know what it... Maybe we do. All right, tranquility for the mist parts gives to us. You know, we just have a moment, basically. So then I think what will happen is that when we get to the decision point, which is going to happen shortly, I'm going to end the episode and you can tell me which way we want to go, and also which ending we want to pursue, because we may not be able to do the comfort one. 18 is apparently the highest we're going to get in this particular game. I cannot get the 20 that we need. Chalmia returned with a hollow-eyed man of uncommon beauty, tired and trailing. Unhuman muscles ruffled beneath the man's skin. Found it, Chalmia informs us. The fallen Labihite. Labihites maintain their power and their position as long as they consume only those things that are found in the sky, so meteorites. This one apparently has been seduced by Ichunda's notorious milks, which raises a number of questions, but most urgent is what we're to do with him now. Alright, so what happens? Even before Ichunda corrupted the Labinite, Kamiya would have killed him in the colonel's name. Now he's not only a monster, but a corrupt monster. Navil meanwhile counts in mercy. The pretense of perfection, he says gradually, is the deepest sickness of the soul. I agree. This desire for perfection has caused more harm than the average animalistic desire in this world. Animalistic desire will kill and consume. But the desire for perfection will create empires. Empires create far more suffering in their attempt to civilize things. Chalmea isn't impressed, but she respects you and her father enough to stay her hand if you insist. So that's where we're going to be ending this episode. Do we kill this corrupted sky monster in human form? Do we spare him? Now, either way, we'll get a pentiment, because a pentiment, remember, is an object of uncertainty, quantum uncertainty, in fact, which could exist in multiple, which in different timelines, in different directions. In this case, our decision is the one that collapses the waveform of our reality to whether he lives or dies. So that would give us the pentiment. That would give us the option of getting the pentiment ending, becoming a moth demigod. Now, the other option, of course, is to try to keep going for comfort. We might have a few places left. I don't know how many items you can get. Honestly, how on earth do you get 30 comfort in this game? You'd have to look it up for like a guide strategy. You'd have to be very lucky to do it, I think. But we can also get the standard comfort ending, which is the one you get below 20 if I cash in the Trove of my foe. So, standard comfort ending, continue to go for comfort, or do we go for the moth demigod one? And with a Labby Knight, does he live or die? So let me know in the comments below, and we will move on to the next and final, probably, episode of this series. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is Fantastic World. Thank you for all the Lovecraft Country. Like, share, subscribe as per usual. If you want to become a supporter, not only do you help this channel grow and expand, you also get access to additional material. Early access for the bottom level. Second tier gets our Baldur's Gate retrospective, the original OG Baldur's Gate, but enhanced edition, because oh my god, I'm not going to try to do the original one in its form. And if you were to become an adept, you get our access to our Marvel Midnight Sun series, which is about the occult heroes of the Marvel Universe banding together in video game form to fight against Lilith and Hydra. Honestly, it's got to be one of the original plot lines I've seen out of the Marvel Universe in any platform in a while. Anyways, I will see you next time. Bye.
I'd like to thank my Acolyte level supporters, whose contributions help this channel grow and hastens the inevitable digital apocalypse and rise of the Dark Lords of Content and Data.